Welcome to Unmasking with Heather Diane, where we are peeling back the layers of trauma to rediscover self, and we are unmasking pain and reclaiming our peace. From triggers to shimmers, a healing journey through hockey. The unexpected outcomes when you begin to heal are the best and most rewarding parts of this journey. Therapy is where most of us will do the work. It is where we are able to look at our lives, the people we are connected to, and go back, resolve trauma, heal, and move forward down our life path with a lighter load. And you will start to find more shimmers than triggers, and it is beautiful. If you've never attended a therapy session or done any healing work, you may not realize that therapy rarely goes in the direction you expect it will. For example, when I began, I was anxious, worried, and scared. The vulnerability that would be needed in therapy was so foreign to me and felt extremely dangerous. Like most people, I thought I knew what past experiences and childhood incidents were still negatively impacting my life decades later, and why I needed therapy. At the end of my first session, I was shocked to discover that we didn't even touch on these memories. Most of the time was spent on completely different areas and memories. I learned very quickly that once you start to address your childhood, the past, and your pain, your mind and memories become your compass, guiding you through the pain and confusion in the directions that you need to go. So what does this have to do with hockey? Well, let's dive in. In my family of origin, hockey was a major part of our family dynamic. It was the one true activity or event that all four of us enjoyed. My older brother started to play at a very young age, and the four of us quickly became a hockey family. We spent countless hours attending admirative practices, games, and tournaments. Hockey was the first sport I understood. I knew the rules, the objectives, and how teamwork is essential in every play. I learned the patterns of a solid play and the determination needed in a defensive line. And from all of this, a love for the sport was born. A large portion of my childhood was spent at the hockey rink, and a lot of our family activities and a lot of our trips were determined by my brother's hockey schedule. It was a time in my childhood of great joy. My family's favorite NHL team was, and still is, the Edmonton Oilers. This was during the Gretzky-era, the great one. The Oilers were an unstoppable force and won back-to-back Stanley Cups during my youth. I was fortunate to attend NHL games, and our family's social circle often consisted of other hockey families, and we all took turns watching the Oilers at each other's homes. I learned so much about the sport and how to strategize during these times. A love for hockey was developing in my heart and my soul. I just didn't know it. I was in attendance at Rexall Place when Gretzky surpassed Gordie Howe's 1,850-point record. The game was paused so that we would celebrate this monumental moment in the history of hockey. My mom and I were in attendance at this game with colleagues from her job. This memory is a vivid one for me. It touched my heart. I never realized the great love for the sport that had grown inside of me. In these formative years, I also discovered that people, even adults and family members, often mask their true feelings and personalities when society dictates what's acceptable. At this young age, I didn't even realize that this had a name called people-pleasing. Pretending, performing, or expressing beliefs that weren't truly mine became my norm. It is important to mention that I became extremely skilled at masking. I can match people's energy and find shared topics of interest. But after more than 40 years of high masking, I no longer knew who I was. Did I actually enjoy certain activities, or were they just a result of masking? What were my real thoughts and opinions on anything? I had been on autopilot for so long that I had to relearn how to act, think, and form beliefs that I could stand by. Essentially, I had to find my voice. Until I was nearly a teenager, I never questioned the imbalance of attention placed on my brother in my family of origin. For the most part, I loved the hockey lifestyle. My creative, ADHD-driven mind was always in motion. I came up with cheers and chants for the parents and fans to sing from the stands. I took old beer cans and wrapped them in hockey tape, in team colors, of course, and filled them with small pebbles or pennies or anything that could make noise. I would hand them out to all the fans, and with the other players' siblings, we would teach everyone the words to the cheers. It was a lot of fun, and it kept my mind busy during the endless hours spent at the rink. The other players' sisters and I used team practices to rehearse and create new cheers. Our photo was even published in the local newspaper to highlight our efforts. At first, my brother hated it and told me I was embarrassing him. My parents nearly made me stop, believing that hockey was my brother's domain and he had the right to decide what happened around it. But when several parents and even some players complimented me, saying the cheers pumped them up and added to the excitement, my family suddenly changed their minds. The coaches thanked me for keeping the fans excited and engaged, and I beamed with pride, and so did my parents. They told me to keep going and ignore my brother's complaints. As far as I know, my brother still thought I was embarrassing, but the positive comments stopped him in his tracks, and he never mentioned it again. To keep reading or listening, consider buying me a cup of coffee for $5 a month and become a paid subscriber, a new supportive friend. Healing deserves depth, and depth takes support. Become a paid subscriber to continue unmasking with me. Access my full weekly posts with an audio option and help keep this safe, validating space alive. Your support helps sustain this work for you, for me, and for every soul who's healing and still finding their voice. And if this is where you leave today, I thank you for taking the time to connect with one of my stories of unmasking, and I truly hope to see you again soon. Take care and keep going. Everybody has a story. This has been Unmasking with Heather Diane.